Hi there. I am trying to go live on Instagram. Here we go. Here we are. I should be live on Instagram. Hello, Instagram. And I should also be live on Facebook and YouTube. So hello, and welcome to my monthly Q&A. I am Jane Hogan, the wellness engineer. And every month I go live on my channels to answer any questions that have been submitted or any questions that are coming in live. So if you have any questions, type them in the chat and I will answer them. So the questions I'm best at answering are about chronic pain, because that's what I help people with. If you have seen my brand new book that's just out, it's called Pain Free on Purpose. Use your mind to heal your body and get your life back. And it's about the connections between your emotions, your thoughts, emotions, nervous system, and how that creates pain in the body. And I talk about rewiring the brain to release pain. So if you have questions about that, I'm happy to answer them. Just go ahead and type them in the chat. And I will have Instagram. That's funny when you're going live on several channels. I'm just seeing if there's any questions on Instagram. I don't even know how to see where I am live on Instagram, but if you have questions, I hope that I can answer them. I hope that I see them. But I think if you just type them in the chat, I should see them. So welcome, everyone. I see some people are joining me live. So go ahead and say hello so I know that you're actually listening and here with me. Say hi. Let me know that you're here. And post a question about chronic pain. Now, here's something. While I'm waiting for people to submit their questions, I'm going to... Hi, Nancy. Thanks for saying hi. Welcome. And anyone else that's watching, say hi in the comments so I can say hi back to you. So I am going to talk a little bit today. I've had a lot of questions recently about the connections between emotions and body parts where you might be experiencing pain. If this interests you, let me know in the comments. Are you interested in this? Now, in the meantime, I am going to put a link if you are interested in getting my book and also the bonuses that go along with the book. I'm just trying to type this in and talk at the same time, which doesn't always go so well. Maybe I already had this in here. Let me see. Banners. thewellnessengineer.com/book. Yeah, it's this one. So if you would like to order my book and get the bonuses, which are not going to be lasting forever, they're just going to be available for a little while longer, you can go to thewellnessengineer.com/book. You can order my book online and then go back to that same page and put in your email address and name, email address, receipt number, where you bought the book, and you'll automatically get the links to all of the bonuses that are available. So let me see if I can remember them all. I did a live 3-day Pain to Peace challenge, so you get access to those recordings. You also get access to my masterclass where I was talking about the brain and pain. You also get, let me see, what else was there? I need to remember now all the bonuses. Guided meditation, the guidebook that goes with the book. Don't buy the one that some imposter has created on Amazon. He did this without my permission. It's not a bona fide guidebook. And then the other bonus, let me see if I remember. I can't remember, but anyway, it's another great bonus. You'll see it when you go to the wellnessengineer.com. So I got lots of great bonuses for you that are totally free when you buy the book. Hi, Anne. Nice to have you. Hi, welcome. All right, so I see a yes. So I'm assuming that means that you are interested in hearing about the connections between body parts and the type of pain or illness and thoughts, that kind of thing. So I found a book really interesting years and years ago. I read this long before I had chronic pain. So basically, for those of you that don't know me, I was strong, healthy, and vibrant. I turned 50. I'd had a stressful year leading up to that, including the death of my mother, who was my dearest friend, and all the aftermath of that. And I explain about it in my book. And it was very, very stressful. And then within 3 months, I went from being strong and healthy to barely able to walk or look after myself. And I was later diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis, but it led me on a whole path of how to heal my body, because I knew that stress had something to do with it. So I wasn't ready to just say, let me take a medication to deal with this. I knew that if stress had turned it on, then stress should be able to turn it off. And so I spent a couple of years trying to figure it out. And I did figure it out. I started with, doing a whole lot of different things. And then when I really understood what was going on with the stress, the nervous system, and how the body responds, then I healed very quickly and reversed the pain totally. And now that's what I help people with. Okay, so, and then I left my engineering career. I was 30 years as an engineer, and I became a functional medicine certified health coach. And then I did yoga. I've got a podcast called Wellness by Design. I've hosted a couple of online summits called Becoming Pain Free. So I've got a lot of great experience now over the last 9 years. I've really studied harder than I ever did for my engineering degree. So let's talk a little bit. So the book that I mentioned that I heard that I'd read years and years ago before I had pain was a book by Louise Hay called You Can Heal Your Life. And in the back of that book, there's a whole lot of, different places where you may have pain or problems and different illnesses, the thought process that can be associated with that, and then a replacement thought, kind of like an affirmation. So, of course, after I was diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis, I looked it up and it said resentment of authority. And I was like, oh yeah, that was what was going on. But over the years, I also came to realize that most people with chronic pain have some what I would call behavioral adaptations. Actually, Gabor Mate is the first place I saw this, was behavioral adaptations in response to chronic stress, probably as a child. So I didn't have major trauma. I have, mild trauma, just a sibling teasing me. That's all. But my response to it was, I'm not important. I don't belong in this family. And so I created behavioral adaptations to try to make me feel safe, not consciously. All of this is subconscious. So some of the behavioral adaptations that I had, and also I've seen these in other people with chronic pain, are people pleasing, perfectionism, hyper vigilance, hyper independence, inability to say no, always trying to make sure everyone else is looked after. Just let me know if you have chronic pain, and do you have any of those behavioral adaptations as well? We think they're our personality, but they're not really. It's just what we created to feel safe. So that tells us that there's this underlying feeling of not safe. Now, what does that mean, not safe? The way our mind works is, if we don't feel accepted by, the tribe, the family, the community, then that is actually life-threatening, because that's the way it used to be years and years ago with actual tribes. If you were not accepted by the tribe, then your life was in danger, because they needed the tribe to protect them. And that's our same feeling that we have when we're a little child, and we end up not feeling accepted by our family. So as far as our brain is concerned, this is a life-threatening situation. And so in that life-threatening situation, it starts to turn on protection. So first of all, the first protection would probably be like behaviors. All right, I can be more accepted if I do everything right. I can be more accepted if people like me. Like, what else can I do to help people like me? But really, the underline of all this is that I don't think I'm worthy. and that's just a belief that we got from somebody else. I don't think I'm worthy of love, or, well, yeah, let's just say that's basically it. So in that, Anne says all of the above. In that case, what happens is our first of all, we have these behaviors of protection. And then so the nervous system in that, when we're not safe, that nervous system shifts to what's called the sympathetic state. Now, I'm just going to make this kind of easy today. Like, let's think of the nervous system as being in one of two states. One state, when everything is going well and we feel good and we feel safe, is called the parasympathetic state, or the relaxation response, or the rest, digest, repair state. That is the only state in which the body heals and feels safe. The other one is the sympathetic state. I call it the stress response, also called fight, flight, fear state. And that is when our body thinks we're in mortal danger and it is trying to protect us. Now, if it thinks we're in mortal danger, we're probably not going to be breathing deeply, right? Because if we're going to like run, it's like we're breathing quickly. We're breathing in our upper chest. We are also, our blood is kind of just going to those major muscles. Our body is deprioritizing digestion. It's deprioritizing the immune system. The endocrine system is not working well. So really, none of our systems responsible for like long-term health are not working that well. So digestion could become sluggish, for example. And then when digestion doesn't work very well, then other things can happen. We can get, bacteria, an overgrowth of the wrong kind of bacteria. We can develop leaky gut. We might then notice that we're sensitive to foods and things. We may notice that we have skin conditions. You may get rashes or acne, or all kinds of different skin conditions. You may get brain fog. You may develop an autoimmune condition. You may develop pain, because if you think about it, one of the things when we are in protection mode, we tend to brace. So we start to brace and tighten. Our fascia becomes tight. Our ligaments become tight. Muscles are tense. And in that case, then over a long period of time, blood isn't flowing like it should. Nothing is flowing like it should. If you want to talk energy, energy isn't flowing like it should. And so we can develop pain anywhere. Then what happens is we start to notice the pain, and then we have fear about the pain. If you have pain and you've had fear about the pain, just let me know. Say yes in the chat if you've had fear about pain, or you can type fear in the comments there. So this is, of course, a natural response. I totally had it too. When I was in that worst state, the worst I ever was, and I had so much pain, of course, I was afraid about my future and wondering, are we going to be able to keep this house, all these stairs I can barely manage? What about all the travel that we had planned to do? I'm not going to be able to do anything. So all of these thoughts used to run in my mind. And do you think that shifted me to the rest and digest state of the nervous system, the parasympathetic state? Or would you think it would shift me to the stress state? Well, of course, it switches to the stress state. So then we have more pain. So here's how it works in the brain. Our brain, emotional stress and physical pain activate the same centers in our brain. So when we start having fear, thanks, Angie says yes. When we start having fear about the pain, then our brain starts creating more neural networks for pain. And then guess what? It turns on more pain. Why does it do that? Because pain, it ultimately is protection. Pain is not like or something our body does, because it doesn't like us, or it's, gone wrong. It's just trying to protect you. That's all it is. It's just a message, and it's trying to protect you. So what happens when you have fear about the pain is your brain starts creating, okay, things aren't going well here, and it turns on more pain. And so we get stuck in a cycle of pain, fear, more pain, more fear, more pain, and so on. And 37 years with fibromyalgia. I'm so sorry to hear that. And fibromyalgia, from what I understand, I did not have a diagnosis of that, but from what I understand, it's kind of like pain. They're not really sure why, right? It's widespread pain. What I've come to learn is that most pain, including fibromyalgia, including migraine headaches, including like pretty much pain anywhere, can be initiated by the brain, the brain and nervous system, out of this sense of not feeling safe. Does that make sense to you? Let me know if that makes sense. Now, sometimes this is the question that I had about how the brain turns on pain and why it decides to go to certain areas. And this is where I find it really interesting, the whole thing about the chakras. So are you familiar with the chakras, or the energy centers? So the energy centers, they are these centers in our body, starting at the root is kind of at the perineum area, and then it moves up. There's 7 of them. And then okay, thanks, Anne. She says yes. The 7 chakras kind of correlate with, I've always found it interesting that they sort of correlate with the Maslow's hierarchy of needs, but not really, but kind of. And I have found that interesting. But they develop from the root up as we get older. And each of the energy centers covers certain body parts. So I don't actually talk about this part in my book, but I find this really interesting. Now I've got this on my iPad, so I'm going to put on my glasses because the print is kind of small. So let's just start at the root. Oh, what happened? Where'd you go? Let me just see. It closed out, but maybe I still have it. I had it all open for you, and now I got to go find it again. Okay, chakra chart. There we go. Okay. All right. So let me see. I'm going to start at the root chakra. So the root chakra is at the base of the spine, or the perineum, as I said. And here's it's associated with a sense of safety, stability, and security. So the glands, so each of these have a body link. So it's associated with the adrenal glands. And the body parts connected with this chakra are the spinal column, the bones, the hips, the legs, the feet, the genitals, large intestine, the nails, kidney, the enteric nervous system. So that's the nervous system in our gut, the feet, the rectum, and the immune system. So if you, some signs of emotional imbalance in this area are feeling spacey, or feeling restless, or not feeling safe or secure, feelings of not belonging, inability to support oneself. And then what you might find as physical symptoms, if energy isn't flowing in this chakra, is low back pain, sciatica, varicose veins, immune disorders, osteoarthritis, what they call adrenal fatigue, overall poor health, and just a lack of energy. So isn't that interesting? Not that you have to get in your head too much about it. What I always suggest is that what we want to do is we want to notice what our thoughts and feelings are. And instead of kind of spiraling into a story about it, we want to go into where this is in our body and activate that area. So you might activate it by imagine that you're breathing through the area. Then the color associated with it is red. So maybe you'd want to focus on the color of red. The musical note is C. So maybe you might listen to some toning in the key of C, or maybe songs that are in the key of C. All right, let's move on up. So the next chakra up is the sacrum, which is just below the belly button. And that is the color of that one is orange. So these follow the colors of the rainbow. So red is the root chakra. The sacral chakra is orange. And the musical note following up from, so C is the root, D is for sacrum. And so the the glands associated with this chakra. Oh, sorry. I want to talk about this first. The attributes. This one is all about emotions, creativity, sexuality, your relationships with other people. So that's that, like that emotional center. It's often why people may have some issues in their hips. Let me know if you're finding this interesting. So the organs associated with this, organs and glands, are the adrenal glands again, and the sex organs. So the areas of the body that this chakra governs are the hips, the sexual organs, small intestine, abdomen, bladder, prostate, kidneys, the enteric nervous system again. So that's the gut nervous system, the appendix, and all fluid functions in the body. All right. Emotional signs of emotional problems with this area are emotional instability, relationship issues, blame and guilt. So feelings of blame and guilt, lack of creativity, money issues, resentment, not setting boundaries. And then physical problems, signs of physical problems associated with the sacral chakra are imbalanced sex drive, sexual organ dysfunction, low back pain, sciatica, urinary problems, and prostate issues. All right. I just find this super interesting. All right. The next one, moving on up, the solar plexus is just in that area where your ribs kind of splay out here, the upper part of the abdomen. So this is the musical note is E, the color is yellow, and it's all about your personal power. This is what a lot of people call your power center. So it's your personal power and control. The organ associated with it is the pancreas, and the physical areas, it's the digestive system, the muscles, the liver, the diaphragm, gallbladder, spleen, the nervous system, and the lower back. So signs of emotional dysfunction are low self-esteem, sensitivity to criticism, controlling, shame, lack of trust, easily intimidated, timidity, fearfulness, irritability, lack of energy, people pleasing, there it comes again, or dominating. That's the other side of it, right? It could, but it's out, either way is out of balance. And then the physical symptoms of imbalance are arthritis, digestive disorders, pancreatitis, diabetes, anorexia or bulimia, liver dysfunction, excessive weight gain or loss. All right, let's move on up. So what's next is the heart chakra. So this is the color green, sometimes pink as well. And the musical note is F. And the gland that governs it is the thymus, and the physical areas are, it's all associated in that area. So the heart, the chest, the cardiovascular system, the lungs, the breasts, the rib cage, skin, and upper back. Emotional signs of instability in this chakra are again relationship issues, fear of betrayal, bitterness, resentment, anger, grief, lack of forgiveness, loneliness, trust issues. And then physical signs of imbalance are heart issues, asthma, allergies, lung issues, breast cancer, upper back and shoulder issues, and shallow breathing. So again, it's just, if you think about that area, it's problems in that area. Okay, moving on up, the next energy center is the throat chakra, right in the middle of the throat. Musical note is G. The color is a blue. And this is all about, it makes sense, it's all about expression and communication. The gland associated with it is the thyroid, and the physical areas, well, it's all around here. So it's the mouth, the throat, the ears, the lungs, the chest, jaw, neck, shoulders, arms, ears, mouth, teeth, and gums. Emotional signs of imbalance are issues with expression, inability to speak your truth, lack of creativity, perfectionism, dishonesty, restlessness, arrogance. And then physical signs of imbalance are chronic sore throat, thyroid dysfunction, neck pain, hearing issues, TMJ, mouth and gum problems, scoliosis, swollen hands. Oh, sorry, swollen glands, not hands. All right. I also think, I don't have it in this chart, but I also do believe that the hands, that's part of our expression as well. So sometimes it could also be a problem with the hands, and we might see that as imbalance with the throat chakra. Okay, moving on up, the third eye. So this is number 6. We're almost there. The third eye in the center of your forehead. Well, it's actually more like inside your head, but a lot of people think in the center of your forehead. So the musical note is A. The color is that indigo color. This is all about your intuition, your ability to vision and plan your life like that. Imagination. The glands are the pituitary gland and the pineal gland. And so this is associated with the left brain, the left eye, ears, sinuses, and the base of the skull. Signs of emotional signs of imbalance are nightmares, hallucinations, learning disabilities, egomania, lack of self-discipline, inability to vision goals, fear of success, blaming others, or ridiculing others. Okay, and then physical signs of imbalance are problems with eyesight, headaches, migraines, sinus problems, poor memory, and sleep issues. Last one, the crown chakra is at the top of the head. The color associated with this is often violet or white, and it's all about spirituality, your purpose in life, and trusting life. And the gland is the pineal gland. And the areas connected with this are the central nervous system, the right eye, the right brain, top of the skull, and the skin. So signs of emotional signs of imbalance are psychological problems, feelings of despair, obsessive thinking, exhaustion, poor memory. And then physical symptoms of imbalance are depression, migraines, epilepsy, dementia, Alzheimer's, extreme sensitivity to light, sound, or environmental toxins. All right, now, and I see your comments there. You're a 6-year breast cancer survivor. Amazing. And you have Hashimoto's and TMJ. That's interesting, right? The throat. So did you resonate with any of that about maybe not speaking your truth, not fully expressing yourself? Maybe sometimes you just zip up a little bit rather than speak what you need to speak. All right. So here's what can sometimes happen when you hear a chart like that. You're like, oh my gosh, I got everything. If that's the case, kind of trust your intuition on what resonates the most with you, and perhaps focus on just one area. Now, a lot of people will say start at the root chakra first, because, it's kind of like, that's at the bottom, and if that's off, it's going to throw off all the others above it. So I would say definitely focus on the root. And then if you want to choose another one to focus on, then you could choose, trust yourself to, when I read that list, what kind of stood out as your primary issues there. Okay. So, so there you go. That's those connections. If you have any questions about that, let me know. Meanwhile, I do have my program is, let me see. I've got a special on right now with my, I don't have a link, so I'm going to create a link for this one. So https : my living pain-free program. I have a special on now, and it's on until this Saturday night. thewellnessengineer.com/special. So if you, okay, that's good. So now what I'm going to do is show you that banner. There we go. thewellnessengineer.com/special. Yeah, if you go there, you'll see basically the special on right now for my living pain-free program. So let me tell you a little bit about the program. It's a membership style program. My blueprint, the steps that I've created that you would follow to calm the nervous system, is in there. I call it my design blueprint. There's also, I do a monthly mindset lesson where I have a theme every month, and I give you like a guided meditation, a little workbook to go with the month, a mindfulness exercise, and a release exercise every single month. And I also have a wellness workshop every month with a wellness expert. And let me see, there's so much in that program. I have my Flare Care Toolbox with 8 of the top tools that most of my students have found most helpful. So those are in there. There's like video instructions, worksheets, whatever you need. And I have, if you wanted, there are 4 yoga and breathwork classes every single month if you want to tune into those. And all of the live sessions are recorded and put in the portal. I have, oh gosh, bonuses, like so many bonuses. I have guided meditations that you can download and keep. I have all kinds of resources, like so many resources. And you also get all of my past wellness workshops. It's almost like Netflix for your body and soul. And there's like 60 of them there now. So there's a ton of resources. Normally this program is $97 a month, but the special that I have on there now, you get 2 months free. So so when you go there, it's basically you're getting 6 months for the price of 4 months. And as long as you stay in the membership, you'll keep renewing at that amount, or you can cancel anytime. You just need to let us know a couple of days ahead of time and we can cancel for you if you want to. So it's really like the best value that I have going. So take advantage of that, because I will get the opportunity to coach you twice a month. Oh, I forgot to say, you can submit unlimited questions where I answer them in the coaching. You get a lot of support in there. Plus you get the pathway, the clear pathway to try. So I hope you decide to join me in that. I'd love to be able to support you. This special is only on until this Saturday night. So take advantage of it while it's on. It doesn't come around very often. So take advantage. All right. And yeah, I do a lot to help you. Here's why coaching is important. So if you want to change these patterns, so what causes nervous system dysregulation is patterns. We have patterns of thinking, and then repeated patterns create habits. Habits are we're basically running on habits 90 to 95% of the time. And if we keep repeating the same habits, we'll keep getting the same results. So what we need to do is interrupt the patterns with new habits. So that's what I'm teaching. I'm teaching new nervous system regulation habits or rituals, however you want to look at it. And in that way, you are teaching your brain new patterns. And instead of like those neural networks, instead of following the same old neural networks, you're creating new pathways that aren't pain pathways. So you're basically stepping off the pain pathways in your brain and shifting to a new one. And then eventually the pain pathways kind of like grow over. I often find that thinking about this like a field. And so if you think about a field and that's got all this tall grass, if you've been already taking one pathway, which is the pain pathway in that field in your brain, then it's going to be easier to take that pathway and you'll just keep taking that pathway. So we have to start creating a new pathway on a different track, and it takes a little bit of effort right in the beginning, because we got to beat down that grass and make a new path. And eventually that old pathway will start to grow over. And then, over time, your body can, all we do is create that environment, that healing response of the nervous system, the rest, digest, repair. We do that consistently and repetitively. And then we shift the body into the healing response, that relaxation response of the nervous system. And the body does the healing work naturally. We don't have to, there's things we can do to help it. But our biggest job is that nervous system regulation. And no one else can regulate your nervous system but you, right? But it takes effort to learn how to do it. So that's what I teach. That's what I teach if you want to join me in there. All right, I don't see any new questions, so I'm going to sign off now. And I want to say a huge thank you for joining me, for all the people that have been watching live, and I know some people may be watching the replay as well. So thank you so much for being here and giving up I always say your most precious resource is your time. It's the only thing we can't buy, right? So thank you for sharing your time with me. And if you aren't already on my email community, I send out a great email every Friday called the Friday Thrive. I always have some like tips and ideas in there on how to help you create calm so that your body can release pain. So if you want to go there, then you could just go to, do I have this one? Let me see if I've got a banner for that one. thewellnessengineer.com/ well, actually, let's go to this audio bundle. This is a great gift for you. If you are brand new to me, or even if you're not, the audio bundle. So this is 3 wonderful audio files that I will send to you when you go sign up here. And there's 108 affirmations to ease pain and promote peace. There's a guided meditation to create calm in the body. And then there's a breath work practice that is like puts you in that healing state. So if you'd like to get that, just go to thewellnessengineer.com/audio bundle and I'll send it to you. And then you will be in my community, and there's all kinds of great things I do in there. So I look forward to that. All right, my friends, that's it for today. Have a great day, and I'll see you again soon. Bye for now.